Hello everyone. We're going to start today by getting a basic intro into Garageband. The reason I'm even making this video is because I couldn't find a good enough one out there for my buddy. One of the really good friends of mine is just starting to get into the recording world with the first usual program that most people use, Garageband. So she couldn't find a good tutorial out there that really gave her what she needed in terms of overdubs because she's a very talented, very good singer. So we're going to help her out today, and hopefully most of you that are watching this video. So, here we go. The first thing you need to do is set up your audio interface. If you don't have an audio interface, that's cool. Just kind of bear with me here. So we're going to go GarageBand, Preferences, and you're going to change your audio input, if it isn't selected already, to your audio interface, which I have the Fast Track Ultra. Now, the audio output, don't worry about this right here. This is just so I can make this lovely video for you guys. So, here we go. The next section you're going to look at is Optimize For, and you're going to select Minimum Delay when playing live instruments. This is just so you'll get a very minimal, if hopefully no latency when you're actually recording. Because latency, if you don't know what latency is, it's just you'll play a note, and then a couple of milliseconds later you'll hear what you just played, and it's really not a fun thing. And I can tell you right now that that's exactly what I have going on in my headphones due to the way that I'm recording this video for you guys. So when I play a little bit later, don't hate me because I'm not hearing it true to the real time of the recording. So here we go. Now you're going to select your import source for your track, which is right here. If it's hidden, it's just this little I button right here. Select that. And this is how I'm talking to you guys right now, is through GarageBand. But it's funny because it's not actually recording from GarageBand. It's in my video program. It's beside the point. Input source. Mono 1 is where my mic is coming in. Now we're going to create a new track because I don't want to record to that monitor track. So you go Track, New Track, or Basic Track. I'll talk about that in a second. And you're going to select Real Instrument Track. The advantage to hang on one second. The advantage to recording to Sorry, let me back up. The advantage to the new basic track is it just automatically creates a real instrument. Versus if you want to create a MIDI instrument, you have to hit new track and select it from the menu. Now, the reason I had to go back and change from this is because this track had the same input source as this one. And you cannot record and enable two tracks with the same input source over here. So, we're going to change this input source to where my guitar is, which is Mono 4. I chose Mono 4 because I have crap plugged into 2 and 3, so don't worry about that. And then we're going to record and enable this track. And we are good to go. So, let's give this a shot here. The next thing we need to do before we do that is set up the metronome. Metronomes keep everything in time so that if you wanted to record MIDI instruments, everything would line up, including your live performances. So we've got the metronome on. Count-in usually gives you 4 beats before the recording to kind of give you that time to get ready for it. So I don't need that for right now. Then you're going to select the tempo that you want to record at, which is right here. Click and drag. I like 85 for the tune that I'm going to play for you guys. And if you can't find this wow, I have a hard time talking today. If you can't find this menu right here, it's over here. So if you select tuner, you can get a good tune of where you're at, which I'm not going to bother that because I tuned before this recording. Measures tells you what measure you're at, which I actually prefer. And then time will actually switch. Let me grab time here. Time will switch and tell you by seconds. The only time you're going to want to use that is if you're doing like a commercial or something like that, where you're not really worried about the song per se, but you're worrying about how long it is, because most commercials are 30 seconds to 60 seconds, so you can make sure you're under. But for this case, we're going to use measures just because we are actually recording music. So my tempo is all set to go, so I can select that back to measures, and we are ready to go. So I'm going to record my first line of guitar. And that's that. Now, because we're going to record another overdub line, this works exactly the same for vocals or bass or whatever you're gonna track overdubs for. So, track, and because we talked about this earlier, we're going to go new basic track. See, that was what I was talking about earlier, where it won't let you select it, which I think is pretty kind of strange considering every other DAW or digital audio workstation will let you do. So we're going to select Mono 4 again, because that's where our guitar is. Turn monitoring on, record enable. Now we're ready to go. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to pan these out, just because it's going to be a lot easier to hear, and it's basically how most guitar recording is done these days anyways. So pan one of them hard left, the other one hard right, so you'll be able to hear exactly what I'm doing. Here we go. Here we go. And there you go. You have it. Now we can go back and listen to it, but you've already heard it. You know. Everything is there. So the next thing we're going to do really fast is we're going to do MIDI. So you're going to want to go to track, new track, software instrument, and hit create. Now, the way that this works best is if you have a MIDI keyboard, which mine is already plugged in. But if you don't have one, don't worry. It can still be done, but it's a little bit more of a task, which I will go through in very little detail. Let me rephrase. I'm going to go through it, but I'm not going to get too in-depth on it. So, see, my MIDI keyboard's already good to go. And we are going to get some latency here, so my performance will be a little off, but that's okay. And with MIDI, you're already ready to go, unless you wanted to select something else, like say you wanted a drum kit, which I'm not going to do right now, just because the latency is going to be bad enough to where it's really going to throw me off. So, but anyways, you can still do it once it loads. You get the point. So, let's try some strings here. Let's see how they sound like. Those will do, just for a little bit. Alright, and we're going to go back and we're going to hit record. Now it actually did record my vocals, just because I didn't deselect the record enable, which is fine. Not worried about it. Now the great thing about MIDI is you can edit everything that you just did. It's not like a real performance because it's using samples and all that other stuff, which I'm not going to get into. So you can double click this, and you can actually go in right here in this bottom little window that pops up, the MIDI editor. And you can select and change whatever you want. Say, for example, you thought that note was too loud, you can just turn it down. Well, not exactly too loud, but it hits too hard. You just turn the velocity down over here. So, and then you can go back in here and edit these however you want. Now, if you need to, you can always just double click. Actually, sorry, command click, and it will give you new notes. And you can do them wherever you want. So if you don't have a MIDI keyboard, you can just bring up the MIDI editor here, hold command, and click where you want the notes. Granted, this is probably going to sound awful, but you get the point. So, you can actually do all the composing you want without having a MIDI keyboard. And that is your basic intro to GarageBand. So if you have any other questions, please give me drop me a line, and I hope this helped you. Thank you for listening to my extremely drawn out and long YouTube video.